Oh, yeah, still not a lot going on. I've got a little bit of spare time, so I thought I'd just pop on and just do one of these, kind of rant and rave kind of thing. Nvidia, the gift that keeps on giving. Drivers, for anybody who wants to follow this. Um, at this moment in time, there's a new bug with the 70 and the 75 driver, which the 75 is the hotfix, which is where you get locked out of your control panel settings. So if you're on going to control panel and you start trying to alter something and it says you don't have rights, you don't have access, blah blah blah, denied. There's two ways around it. You either have to go into, I think it's program data, Nvidia, and you have to look for a DRS folder, delete the DRS folder, then restart your computer, and it should be okay. That's a bit hit and miss. And to be honest, the easiest way is to just basically use DDU, remove the driver, and then reinstall it. So it's another fun thing to come across. It's been a few years since I ran into that one, but I've run into it, and after looking online, a few other people have as well. So it's a new fun thing. Sadly, these drivers are going to be like this for another month or two. The norm is that the drivers are hit and miss for a while when new GPUs come out because they're designed around the new GPU, trying to make it better and look great, and the old cards suffer. And then they fix it for the old cards and the new card suffers. And it takes a while for it to get stable. At this moment in time, it's not great for either of the cards. The only ones which I kind of, off the top of my head, recommend to people is to use, I think it's the 56614 and the 56636. I think that's the ones that usually get banded around about safe to roll back to and to use. Unfortunately, that's not particularly good for anybody with a 5000 card because it's the new drivers that ideally you want to be using. But if you've got a 5000, the last one I think it was 572, is it 47? I think was the one that got the least complaints. The ones slightly before and the ones after have got more complaints. It's not great at all. And as for what the future holds, I don't even know how the 6000 is going to go down because there's a lot of people with 4000s that hung off the 5000, which are obviously going to want a 6000. There's maybe people with the 5000 that were dissatisfied. They want it's. I don't know. I don't see a bright future, unfortunately, of trying to get hold of GPUs. AMD hit it out of the park within a 9780 XT. They look to do the right thing for the mid-ground, but MSRP prices are just disappearing. I don't think it's too bad in the UK, but it obviously depending on what shop you go to, because some of them are more restricted as to having to stick to the MSRP. Some of them are kind of just, like freehand it and just put whatever price they want on these things. But looking at some of the prices around the world, it's just insane. And it's not great. And I just don't see things getting any better, unfortunately, for GPUs. It's another thing which is probably going to push more people towards consoles. And to be fair, I'd say the PlayStation 6 is probably going to be the kind of litmus paper kind of test. That's going to be the one where we see just how things are going to pan out, because I've always said that once consoles get to 4K 120 FPS in all games, not just in a few, or they have to resort back to like 60 FPS or 30 FPS, once they can do 120 4K, that's when it's going to be a thing of like, right, where's it going to go from here? Fair enough, you can do a lot more with the PC and things, obviously your media side and stuff, but there's always been a thing of it's always better on the PC, it's always better on the PC. And at the moment, when you start seeing some of these games where they're having to restrict them to say 60 or to 30 FPS, there's always a reason to say, well, you can do this on the PC. But once they get to, like I said, because I mean, if you're a PC obviously person, you can tell the difference. You know what you're looking for. But to the average person on the street, if you're going to put a game on a PC that's 4K, 120 FPS, and you do the same on a console, and then tell them the difference in price, yeah, you're going to find that I would say 80-90% of people are going to say, give me the console and I'll keep the other cash. So I think it's going to be harder. But like I say, it's going to be the PlayStation 6 before we actually get round to that. Every console that comes out, they always say that it's going to do it, and obviously they fall way short. But I think the PlayStation 6 is going to be the first one that actually does tick the boxes, and we'll see how it goes from there with the PC market. Whether it starts to dry up and slow down, which one, well, obviously, if it'll make getting hold of GPUs easier for us, if people turn more to consoles, I don't know. I remember a long time ago when they were all saying that PC gaming was dead. That was it. It was done. It was in its death throes, and it was for a while. And then it bounced back. And now look at the prices of GPUs. It's just crazy. Anyway, rambling on that side. As for the 6000, again, I'm hoping that's going to go to, well, if it goes to Samsung, it'll probably be 2 nanometer, and if it goes to TSMC thing, they'll go to 3 nanometer probably. That will help with their cards because it'll basically mean that the power draw can be lowered and the efficiency will be better. Hopefully not as much melting and the heat. So we might not have... AI's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. They need it. Consoles need it. But there might be less reliance on the AI side if they can get a more efficient chip in there. I just don't know which way they're going to go. I would dare say they're going to go with the 3 nanometer because if they jump straight away to 2, it means that it's harder, to go anywhere from 2. It's like your Apple and your Samsung. They give you upgrades, but they give you small upgrades each time. If they jump straight to like what they can actually do, there's nowhere left for them to move, and there's nothing left for them to sell the following year. So it's probably going to be the 3 nanometer, which will have improvements, and it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen with this. Are they going to venture into 2? Are they going to venture in going back to 3? I don't know. But I believe there's one of the 5090 cards out now. I can't remember which one it was, where somebody was testing it and it actually went to about 660 watts, and yet the cables are rated for 600. So they're already finding stuff out there which goes over the recommended limit for these cables. So they're going to have to do something, unless the next chips are so insanely efficient that it keeps them below 600. But I don't know. I think they're going to have to bite the bullet and say they were wrong and actually change this. These cards are getting bigger. There's no reason why they can't have a longer board and stick your 3 pins, your 3 8-pin sockets on there again. Unless they're going to invent something else again. I don't know. Which will be a slap in the face if they do, because it means you're having to buy a new PSU if they change the fitting again. So I really do hope, I know it's a bit more unsightly because all the cables coming out and stuff, but I really do hope that they just extend the board and then just stick the 3 8 pins on there again. But we'll see. Game wise, Star Wars Outlaw, I can see why people hated that game when it first came out with the AI and with all the stealth. I can definitely see why that game would have sucked. I played it after the bug fixes and when they've took away 90% of the stealth that was needed. I have to say I thoroughly enjoyed it. The story is forgettable. The dialogue and stuff, it's all serviceable and passable. The characters aren't exactly memorable. They're all, again, it's all kind of just like above average. It's all serviceable. The model that they used for Kay, the main lass, I had to use a mod to change that because I just could not look at her. It was ridiculous, the fact that they took that actress and they made her look like that. That was absolutely stupid. The only thing which I wish they'd done is kind of like what they had with Odyssey, male or female, pick male or female. I just think that would have helped with a few of the people who weren't keen on the game, because for a guy to go around and kind of like one punch stormtroopers who are wearing helmets or these aliens and stuff, it takes a bit of like it's not particularly believable. But when you see a lass who is like kind of like she's not exactly built like Arnie, do it. It just looks like, could you not give it like a stun gun or something? It just looks a bit odd. But yeah, apart from the character model for her, and just a few little nitpicks here and there, like I say, the story and characters and stuff, they're all like, it's okay. The actual gameplay, I really enjoyed it. But it's the world. It's the sights, the sounds, the locations, some of the vistas that you see, some of the things you discover. It's. I would have to go back to Assassin's Creed Unity for the last Ubisoft game that kind of like pulled me in and just thought, wow, you know what I mean? You could literally just walk around and soak it in. This is right, really really nicely done, really nicely done. And if you actually play the game and just don't go from A to B and actually go around some of the side quests, just some of the stuff they've added, it's like that must have took so long to do or so many people to work on it. It's probably the reason why it's lost so much money. Um, but it's really astounding some of the stuff that they've done it. I was really impressed. But again, it just needed some tweaks. The space battle stuff, it's all fine. It's all right. If that could have been fleshed out some more as well, it's one of these games. I would say it's probably an 8 out of 10 as it sits right now. Um, if they could have spent more time on it, kind of sorted the characters out and the story a bit more, fleshed out the space battles, just tweaked bits here and there. That could have been such an amazing game that could have led on to multi DLCs and sequels and stuff. And I would have gladly have gone into that kind of world and roamed around it and stuff. But um, it's again, I would be saying things probably a lot differently if I'd have played the release version, because I've seen the videos and I've seen people talk about it and it looked atrocious. But the one that's out now, it's like literally half price. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I say, once I used that mod to change her appearance, which is a shame for that poor actress that did the mocap. It must be awful to actually do that and then look, the model actually got released and just think, that's not me. Anyway, so that's Star Wars Outlaw anyway. Assassin's Creed, which is obviously launched, I'm not interested in that at all. It's it's lost its way. To me, my favourite is Unity. Yes, it was bug ridden when it first came out, but once that was all done and dusted, there is no other Assassin's Creed game out there that looks the same, feels the same, has the crowds, has the change halfway through after Revolution, has the movement. It's still, I mean, obviously it's over the top, but it's still kind of like it could be possible, some of the moves that you pull off and stuff. Origins I enjoyed, but I do like the old history with Egypt and things like that. And it was their version of The Witcher 3, because The Witcher 3 obviously is one of the greatest games of all time. So it was them trying to do a kind of Witcher 3 approach. And I did enjoy it. It was still a good game. I did enjoy it. Odyssey just felt like DLC to me. And from then on, and Valhalla was just... I've tried to finish that game 3 times and I just keep giving up. I'm just bored to tears and it just doesn't work. And the new one, Shadows, as soon as I seen it, I was just like, this game's like 10 years too late. Ghost of Tsushima is, if you want that kind of game, just play that. I just don't like the look of the Shadows at all. The world looks nice enough, but when I start seeing the combat, and I start seeing these super moves where it's kicking people like you Venom or Spider-Man on a bad day or something like that. You got it's just like the combat was always pushing the limits of believability as such. But when you start seeing them literally, Spartan kicking people like 20 meters and stuff, and like knocking heads off and things, and just like the way the screen will flash and change, and it looks more like Assassin's Creed Yakuza. If you play the Yakuza games, it looks more like something like that, and it just totally and utterly just takes me. As soon as I seen like some of the combat, I was like, the world looks nice and stuff, but that combat, it just does not look like an Assassin's Creed game at all, and it's totally not for me. And then after watching some people play it and then hearing some of the dialogue and some of the other stuff that's in it, and man, it's terrible. It's the kind of game where I'd like to like just go around and take in the atmosphere and the looks, the sights and the sounds, But as far as combat goes and interaction with other things, it looks atrocious. Not for me at all. But that's about it, really. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot to talk about. AIO still going good. For people who keep asking, yeah, it's still going good. And for anybody who's asking, as fans, I never use the stock fans. I always use my own fans because it matches. They just plug into the motherboard header anyway, so it's up to me to control them. This AIO and the one that comes on I think it's the Hydra and the Grand and the Hyper, goes up to 6,000 RPM. If you're okay with that kind of noise, it's fine. I cap mine at 4,500. So I basically have this sitting around about 3,200 RPM, right the way up to about 60 degrees. And then when it hits 60, I have it slowly climbing a bit more until it reaches 90 degrees. And when it hits 90, it's going at 4,500. I think the fastest this AIO's got to at the moment is about 3,800, maybe 4,000. It's working fantastic at this moment, pardon the pun. So yeah, if you don't mind the noise, just leave it standard and let it run at 6,000 if you want. But to me, that's just overkill. And hopefully you get more life expectancy out of the actual pump as well. And I know some people can say, oh, well, speed changing up and down. Yeah, but I have it where it slowly climbs. I don't have it jump up or anything like that. That will not be great for your pump. I have it where it has a gradual climb to what it does. And also when it cools down, I have it to go gradually back down as well. I don't have to drop straight away. Anyway, I've done a video in the past explaining how I do my fan stuff if anyone's interested. Right, I'm going to go because I'm just rambling like hell now. Anyway, bye.